Welcome back, and for this discussion, we are going to be talking about the big story that's happening right now with the New England Patriots, specifically with Bill Belichick has reportedly been trying to shop Mac Jones this offseason. Not too surprised, but it has happened. My quick thoughts on it. I think it's a horrible decision. I do. I still think that they are. I should say he for Mac Jones. He is more incapable of being, the franchise guy for them. I still believe that. Do I think he'll ever be elite? No, I don't think he'll ever be elite. I think he'll be very good. At best case scenario, I think he can get you in the playoffs. But I think for him, for options right now, it's gonna be very tough to move him. But quickly going back to the trades ordeal, the teams that he did reportedly talk to and trying to give away Mac Jones was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Las Vegas Raiders, Houston Texans, and Washington Commanders. All of them seem to have better options, or at least options that they feel comfortable moving forward. Bucks, you have Kyle Trask, who you drafted a couple years ago. That's like behind Brady. You also signed Baker Mayfield to a one-year deal. Raiders, you just signed Garoppolo, which I'm sure if Garoppolo was available, that Belichick would probably be going after him. But he is now with the Raiders. Texans, you have the second overall pick. I would rather take a shot at C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young, whoever falls to me at 2. I think they have a much higher ceiling than Mac Jones. For C.J. Stroud and Bryce Young, I can see these two being elite at their heights. Mac Jones, I can't see that. Commanders, you could probably have the best argument for that, but they feel comfortable with Sam Howell. They also signed Jacoby Brissett to be the backup. So either way, I think for right now, better options. I mean, we'll see of Sam Howell, how he plays out, but they feel comfortable at least moving forward with that. Worst case scenario, in the 2024 draft, they're in the Caleb Williams sweepstakes, which I can already tell you right now, Caleb Williams will be a much better NFL player than Mac Jones ever will be. So I have no problem with the Commanders potentially tanking to get Caleb Williams or the guy out of North Carolina. Why do I make this argument for Mac Jones? I don't think he is horrible as people make him out to be. If you look at his 2021 season, his rookie season, he did take him to the playoffs. He did go to the Pro Bowl. That has to be worth for something. And people look at this season how bad he played. We have to think too how bad the team was, especially with Matt Patricia calling offensive plays. Bill, what are you doing? What are you doing to help Mac Jones succeed? To give you the stats for 2021, 2022. Mac Jones stats for his rookie season: he had 3,081 yards, 22 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, and a 67.6 completion percentage. Like I said, did make the Pro Bowl as an alternate. He led him to a 10-1 season. Ultimately, got knocked out of the wild card game, blown out to Buffalo, 47-17. But still, an amazing start to a rookie season for any quarterback. And I think to most accounts, people would say he had the best rookie season out of any of the quarterbacks in the first round. Lawrence struggled. We can make good excuses for Urban Meyer. Trey Lance didn't play too much, but also got hurt. Zach Wilson had an okay season. So it's kind of, it was more of a default that he had the most success. He had double-digit wins, and he led him to the playoffs. I don't really want to put too much stock in him getting blown out by Buffalo, because I kind of do that for anyone else. If they're making their first playoff appearance, I kind of give quarterbacks slack for that, being their first time. After that, if you want to bash them for their performance, I have no problem with that. But I think for their first time ever being there, I think that comes some slack. So I don't hold too much on them for that. It was just, I think that the Bills were just on a historic game, did not punt a single time, scored on every possession. That's very rare if the teams do that, so I'm going to give Mac Jones a pass on that. But going to 2022, again, everything took a step back. So he did only play 14 games. He was hurt. But I'll quickly get into that in a second. His stats for this past season were just under 3,000 yards, or 2,997 yards to be specific. 14 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, 65.2 completion percentage. In the 14 games, he went 6-8. Overall, the team finished 8-9. So definitely, again, a step back in passing yards, touchdowns, completion percentage. He did have 2 last interceptions in last season, so you gotta give him some credit for that. But overall, it was just a down year for them. But again, who could blame you when you have someone who is not an offensive-minded coach are calling plays? You have a defensive-minded assistant calling offensive plays, and Matt Patricia. And to be, it's even going a step further than that. Should we even give a lot of credit to Matt Patricia on the defense? I mean, we know who the real defensive coordinator is for New England. It's Bill Belichick. Matt Patricia probably had nothing to do with the success, or very little at best. You saw how he did in Detroit. He was awful. He comes back, and now he's the offensive, play caller. There's a reason why he's not in New England anymore. And I'm not shocked. I won't be shocked if another team doesn't, if another team, or no team, I should say, doesn't pick him up. But again, I know there was a lot of turmoil again with his injury, because they're kind of going back and forth with between the medical staff for the Patriots, and also a second opinion on whether how long he should sit out for. Of course, there was a game on TV where it was shown that he was yelling at the coaches to call different plays or better plays. And this is what it's kind of leading to with this Bill Belichick trying to shop Mac Jones. So that Bill Belichick is very upset with Mac, voicing his displeasure with the offense. But again, who can blame Mac Jones when you have no pieces around him? I know Bill Belichick made the comment of how to reassure people about the future. Just basically to look at the last 20 years or so of success. That's cool, but that one person that you could probably say was the only reason why Bill Belichick succeeded is not there anymore. He is retired. That is Tom Brady. If Tom Brady was not in New England for those 20 years, Bill Belichick would not have won a single Super Bowl, and probably would have gotten fired a few years into his career with New England. I'm sorry, that's the truth. I know there's probably some people out there to give Bill Belichick a lot of credit. If you want to give him some, I do. But I think that the leading factor, or the leading person that helped drive this team to a dynasty as what it is now is Tom Brady. Looking at for Bill Belichick, this is his record without Tom Brady. So this is 2020, 2021, 2022, and now of course we'll see what happens in 23. But in 2020, the COVID year, this was the last season where they had the 17 games. They went 7-9, did not make the playoffs. 2021, as we just said, Mac Jones season with one extra game for this added on to the season. They went 10-7. Of course, 0-1 the playoffs, again, getting blown out by Buffalo. This past season, 8-9, took another step back. So in these 3 years without Brady, you have only made the playoffs once and got beat horribly in that, leading to your total record the last 3 seasons as 25-26, including the playoffs. If you want to separate playoffs, he's 500, 25-25. Again, not great stats. And for Belichick, he's going to have to turn around quickly, or at least if he's going to get rid of Mac Jones, he better have a good plan with them, because in a span of a few years, you went from the most dominant team in the NFL and certainly the number one team in the division to quickly becoming the worst team in the division. Of course, we have Buffalo, Josh Allen, how dominant they have been in the division specifically. Last 3 years, they have won the division, have a good chance to win it again for their 4th straight year, though they have stiff competition. Miami is, in terms of if you want to talk about star power with names, a juggernaut. Just adding Jalen Ramsey to the defense. Of course, you still have Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Tua. If he can stay healthy, he's shown that he is a capable quarterback. That team will definitely rival Buffalo to get the number 1 spot in the division. Another team, we'll see with the whole Aaron Rodgers situation. I like to believe that it will get done eventually. But if we kind of, get a little too ahead of ourselves and say, yeah, Aaron Rodgers is on the Jets, they're going to be fighting for the number 1 playoff spot, or number 1 spot in the division too. So those are 3 teams that have star power, have stacked teams, and then you get to New England. What does New England have to rival that? Of course, Patriots fans are going to believe that they have a good shot at winning the division. They can do all this, and no, you don't. You don't have the pieces around you. You don't have Tom Brady anymore. I'm sorry, this isn't 5-6 years ago when you were winning Super Bowls. I'm sorry, that's a different time. You don't have star power. You don't have the quarterback. You have arguably the worst quarterback in the division. You are arguably the worst team in the division. Again, if we're assuming that Aaron Rodgers is on the Jets in the start of this upcoming season. Where's the hope in that already? Now, of course, I still think that you could be a good team, a playoff team, if you add pieces around Mac Jones. But certainly, if you get rid of Mac Jones this offseason, you're not winning. I better not hear any talks from any Patriots or any team or any fans, just to say, of the Patriots potentially winning the division, because there's no way in hell they're beating Buffalo, Miami, or Jets to get that spot if you don't have Mac Jones. I don't believe they'll get it with Mac Jones to begin with. So if you don't have Mac Jones on your team in the 2023 season, there's no way in hell you're going to have great success. But let's look at the pieces around him. What has Bill Belichick done to help Mac Jones? He's added some pieces, but again, it's not good enough with the way the division, and especially the AFC conference, is going. So these are the top players that I wrote down for Mac Jones. Juju Smith-Schuster, who they just signed this offseason, 3-year, $33 million deal. Solid contract, solid receiver. Probably you can argue is the best receiver they have on the team, but not saying too much. Added Mike Gesicki in the offseason. I think it's a good move. I do believe he's a good tight end, so I think it's a great weapon to add. Tyquan Thornton, you drafted in the second round last year. He showed flashes, especially his breakout game against Cleveland, where he showed his capability, how he can be used. But after that was little to none. So we'll see if he takes a step forward this upcoming season. Bill Belichick has been the best, especially drafting wide receivers high. The last one being N'Keal Henry from Arizona State in 2019. He took him the end of the first round. Or N'Keal Harry, sorry. Took him in the end of the first round. Did not work out at all. He's in Chicago now. So we'll see if Tyquan continues that trend of top picks at wide receiver that haven't worked out. A player that I absolutely love, Ramondre Stevenson. I think he can be a great running back. I think he definitely showed it this season with Damien Harris being out for a good portion of the season. I think Ramondre Stevenson is probably the best piece they have on the offense. So I think it's a great running back for them. They also added James Robinson to the backfield. Also with having Pierre Strong, they drafted last year. I think Robinson's a solid pick or solid pickup. But with all this, does this push the needle to a great direction for Mac Jones? No. You still don't have an elite receiver like everyone else has in the AFC East. Miami, Tyreek Hill, Buffalo, Stephon Diggs. This can be a little bit funny. Some people might laugh at it. Garrett Wilson for the Jets. I think he has potential to be a superstar. He is a great wide receiver, a very up-and-coming one. I think between him and George Pickens. But so you stack all those receivers out there, and then you have who for New England? Juju Smith-Schuster doesn't stack well against the other three that I just named. But let's go in the direction of, again, if he wants to get rid of Mac Jones, what are the options out there for him? Starting off with the most obvious one is being on the team right now, Bailey Zappi. Again, when Mac Jones was out, Bailey Zappi came in, and there was starting to be this dilemma of, is Bailey Zappi better than Mac Jones? Is Bailey Zappi going to be the starter for the remainder of the season? And I kept going back and forth. I remember Devin McCourty was discussing this, and he said there was kind of a division in the locker room, players wanting Bailey Zappi to start, players wanting Mac Jones to start. Again, this would probably be the most likely option for Mac Jones if he decides to get moved on. But again, I think Bailey Zappi will be the number one option if Mac Jones is moved. But outside of Mac Jones, what else do we have? So for trade, the biggest one is going to be, the biggest name, no doubt, out of this whole list is Lamar Jackson. Patriots were linked to him. They said, of course, just like any team, they said they were out on Lamar. But it should still be an option. If you get Lamar Jackson, it's going to cost you 2 first-round picks, because Belichick doesn't like giving up picks to begin with, trading back, getting more. So that's already going to be a tough thing to sell for Belichick, giving up 2 first-round picks on top of spending the big money, which he doesn't like to do to begin with either. But it puts you in contention again. It gets you an elite quarterback like everyone else. I mean, if you get Lamar Jackson, you easily have the second best quarterback in the division, or you can argue best between him and Josh Allen. But it puts you back up there of having a great quarterback, the best quarterback, no doubt, since Tom Brady. But I'm not saying Lamar will be Tom Brady, but you need the quarterback to win, and you can try and figure out the pieces around them too, get better pieces, and help Lamar. Who knows? Especially with success, you can maybe get back to the old New England Patriots where you can have players start coming back to New England because you have a star quarterback now. Teams don't want to go to New England because it's not the Tom Brady Patriots anymore, where they're guaranteed a Super Bowl, or at least guaranteed to go that far. Another option I have for both of them being at Tennessee is Ryan Tannehill and Malik Willis. I bring this up because there was reports that the Titans were trying to move up to 3rd overall, or at least exploring that option. So by doing so, they probably don't think too much of Malik Willis, and of course they want to move on from Tannehill. I presume, when I made a short about it, saying it's probably going to be Anthony Richardson, at least for right now, guessing that CJ Stroud and Bryce Young go 1-2, that it's going to be Anthony Richardson probably, if they wanted to do that. But regardless, I guess Tannehill get you, a solid quarterback, can get you that play, familiar with the division, no doubt, being with Miami, the start of his career. Money-wise, not too bad, but again, can give you a solid option. Is it a huge upgrade over Mac Jones? I don't see it as much. I mean, I guess a little bit better, but it doesn't push the needle much further for the Patriots. The other one being Malik Willis. I got very untapped potential. Definitely has elite talent with his arm strength and speed, but when we watched him in his rookie season, not fair to him. He got thrown into a situation in a few games, but watching him, he looked horrible. He did not look like an NFL quarterback. At times, it didn't even look like he knew how to play the position at a high level. But people knew he was going to be a project. And I remember in the 2022 draft, people were going back and forth of, is Malik Willis going to be the number 1 quarterback taken off the board? Is he going to be a first-round pick? And, of course, we've seen Kenny Pickett was the only first-round quarterback taken, which I agree with. I believe he'll be the best quarterback in that draft class. And even after that, you kind of have questions with everyone else. But I think Malik Willis, in terms of potential-wise, if you can develop him, will certainly could be a great quarterback for you. Now, will he be elite? I don't know. I mean, you could kind of say that for anybody. Who knows if he will be? And there's certainly a chance he could be elite. Are you guaranteed that? No. But you got to realize he'll be a project. And is that something Bill Belichick is willing to work on? Is that something Robert Kraft is willing to give Bill Belichick the time? And more importantly, is the fans going to be patient with that? But that's also an option too. Another one I saw thrown out there was Trey Lance. Again, another high pick, 3rd overall pick in 2021. Haven't seen too much of him because of injury problems. Every time he comes in, he gets injured every game or every season he's played. He's had injury problems. That's what led to the Brock Purdy start, where Lance got hurt week 2. Garoppolo came in, got hurt towards in the middle of the season, then Brock Purdy picked it up, and we know the rest. But regardless, there is injury concern with Trey Lance, especially how he plays the position. But again, once again, another untapped potential. Definitely has the great tools to become a great quarterback. But once again, is that going to be something that the fans, Belichick, and Kraft are going to be patient to develop? Now, I think he's a more polished quarterback than Malik Willis. But regardless, it's still a project to try and fix him a little bit. But it could be an option for trade. For free agency, 2 biggest ones I saw was Carson Wentz, Teddy Bridgewater. Again, nothing too crazy. Bridgewater, of course, will be familiar with the division, being with the Dolphins this past season. Carson Wentz, I'm not too high on him. I don't think he's a good quarterback whatsoever. I think Nick Foles showed that when he won the Super Bowl. So I think for either one of these signings, you're kind of going backwards. I'd rather take Mac Jones than these 2 guys. So I think if he did this is going to be a horrible direction to go. And then for draft, the 2 biggest ones I saw, at least listed on CBS, was Will Levis. If they want to move up in the draft, they currently hold the 14th overall pick. So not out of the realm to move up, but once again, is Belichick willing to break the mold of how he normally does things and trade up. Thankfully for him, he was able to have Mac Jones fall to him when we thought that Mac Jones would be taken way before he was. I don't think it's going to happen with Will Levis. I think Will Levis will be gone before the 14th overall pick, so that they have a shot to potentially move up and select him. The other one was Hendon Hooker from Tennessee. There has been more talks as of late that he could potentially be a first-round pick. Some people saying like I don't believe. People saying like I don't believe he'll slip out of the first round. He will be taking He'll be a first-round pick. A little bit shocked on that because it was mostly for the first rounds. It was, of course, C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young, Anthony Richardson, Will Levis. Now you're starting to see Hendon Hooker be in that conversation of more people believing that he won't slip out of the first round. Big knock on him, too, is just age. Being older, 25 years old. I think by the start of the season, he'll be 26, if I believe. But either way, not a bad option, but is that worth a 14th overall pick? I don't know. I think 14th overall might be a tad too high for him. Who knows? Or you can do that Bill Belichick system where you can just trade back, get more picks, and then you can take him with the later first-round pick that you have. A lot of people I threw out there was Max Duggan, of course, from TCU. I threw in there personally Stetson Bennett, not first-round pick, but maybe later in the draft. And they also put Tanner McKee on there as well. Again, outside of Will Levis, not horrible options. I guess you could make an argument for Hendon Hooker. Being not too bad for New England, but outside of that, it's how are these guys gonna do? Like Max Duggan, I don't know. Max Duggan is a very weird prospect. I kind of go back and forth of can he be like a Brock Purdy where he can step in and just have great success, or is he just gonna be another guy? Same thing with Stetson Bennett. Tanner McKee, I don't know too well, so I'm not gonna make a comment on him. But I think overall for the draft, your biggest shot is Will Levis, which is not out of the realm, but you're gonna have to break the mold, especially for Belichick, break his own mold of how he does things. That's gonna kind of sum up the Mac Jones discussion, especially with again with trade rumors. I think it's a horrible option for Belichick and the Patriots. I do. I think for Belichick, more importantly, this is a defining year. I really do believe that. If they don't make the playoffs, or they have a losing record, either way, I think there's going to be the serious discussion of Belichick potentially getting kicked out of New England, whether he gets fired or they decide to part ways. I think it's a real possibility that you start hearing that discussion more and more, because if he has another bad season, we're talking about 3 or 4 seasons after Tom Brady has left, where you've done nothing. For Brady, his 3 years after New England, he's made the playoffs every single year. He's won a Super Bowl without Belichick. So he's already won if you want to say the power struggle between who should get more credit for the dynasty, Belichick or Brady. Ever since, when they parted ways, even before that, people were discussing that, but especially when he left to Tampa, that really started the conversation. Who deserves more credit, Brady or Belichick? And right now, Brady's has won the conversation. He's won a Super Bowl. He's made the playoffs every single year after he left New England. What has Belichick done? Belichick has not come close to even making a Super Bowl, making the playoffs once and getting blown out in that game. So if you add, let's say, if you just guarantee, let's just say that at the end of the 23 season, they have a losing record. They have another 8-9 season, 9-8 season. So in 4 years, that's 3 times you don't make the playoffs, 2 losing records, and only 1 playoff appearance, with, of course, being blown out. That's not a good look. So especially for this season, give Mac Jones one more shot, because there's a chance where if Belichick gets kicked out, it's probably going to be Mac Jones' last year, too, in New England. So you might as well give him another shot with the pieces around him instead of being, having your ego hurt because he wanted to go out and have, or, start speaking out more of having better, pieces around him, having better offensive plays called. You're gonna have to break that mold. It's a different era in the NFL right now. You can't be stuck in your own ways. You have to evolve like everyone else. Right now, you are, in these last few years, you have quickly become one of the worst teams, especially in the division. But potentially in the conference. I shouldn't say that far, but just a average team at best in the conference. So you're gonna have to really, put your ego aside and not get upset because Mac Jones wants better pieces around him, because that's what every other quarterback wants. You can't just be stuck in this Belichick way like how it was for Tom Brady, where you can just give him average talent and he can elevate you. I'm sorry, Mac Jones will never be Tom Brady or Bailey Zappi. You're going to be an average team at best if you don't change your ways. And I think for right now, this is a horrible decision if he wants to try and move Mac Jones, if it does happen. But I'm going to leave it at there. Let me know your thoughts down below on the whole Belichick situation, especially with the Mac Jones trade. With that being said, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.